How do you find your new home to rent in Dubai? I'm not a real estate agent, just to preface this. We moved to Dubai, and now another friend of mine, she's moving to Dubai from Canada. And this morning we were chatting, and she asked me, "So how does one line up someone qualified to show us a whole bunch of properties? I don't want to have to navigate 12 different Bayou Jets or Property Finder, right? How do you do that?" And so I thought I kind of like sum it up everything that we discussed in like the call that followed. So our search here in Dubai has been a little bit longer, maybe, or was going on for a little bit longer than most people from what we heard. It took us around probably 3 to 4 weeks actually to find the place that we wanted. Whereas we heard that you can also make it happen within a few days, a week max. And that's what we also heard from most real estate agents. But why it took us so long was because of several reasons. Also because we had something very specific in mind for a very good budget. And that was kind of obviously very hard to get because once it hit the market, it was gone right away. And so we kind of lost out on it already 2 or 3 times in that kind of like exact location where we wanted. So we essentially just had to wait then. But the first thing that I was telling her is that I'm not sure that you can kind of avoid that. Unless you have someone really trusted on ground here in Dubai that would recommend you someone that they vouch for as a real estate agent. I'm not so sure if you could go into this and maybe like trust that agent. I'm gonna say this, but it's a very cutthroat business from what we as consumers, from what we've experienced. And I do have an acquaintance that's a real estate agent here in Dubai as well. We didn't find something for him, but yeah. And we had a lot of very interesting experiences. I might make another video on that. So let's say you really, really trust that agent, the first couple of agents that you're touring a place with, and they're gonna sell you on the fact that obviously they can help you find your perfect place. And these are like all of the things that I already have in, my pocket. These are all of the properties that we can also view. So unless you want to be confined by what they have to offer and the properties that they have access to, that's what I told her as well. Unless you want to make a choice. And I also have other acquaintances that did it like that. They kind of found something in 2 or 3 days in Dubai because they knew the exact location, again, the area where they wanted to be in, the budget they have. They didn't care so much about like any other stuff so much. They just wanted to move quickly, and that was possible, right? So they just confined themselves also to maybe that one agent. So if you don't want to do that, and like her, she is not quite sure yet on the areas that she wants to, potentially move her family to. Because of that, I feel like if you're confining yourself, we found also to one agent, it makes it a bit tricky because you are then kind of trying to be loyal to that agent, whereas you might want to be, I'm all for loyalty, but you want to be maybe loyal also in terms of like to what you're looking for, right? Like that property, and you want to more just find that property. So if you're choosing to go with one agent, whatever they are going to show you, right? Let's say it's 7 properties, then these are the 7 choices that you're going to get, right? And your decision is confined by those 7 choices, which is, of course, it could be the right thing for you, but just like be aware of that. For us, essentially, it did not work. For us, it was more like we knew the property that we wanted, and then we were trying to kind of course, find the right agent that would be able to get us that property, by seeing it listed. Do you see? We also felt like needing a ton of agents. We probably met like 7 or 8, not that many, but 7 or 8 agents before we found our agent that helped us get this place. So we felt like it showed us a lot of different ways of how they were working with their clients, and it made us understand like, okay, this is maybe this is someone that's very professional. This is someone that's very shady, and it's really interesting because we had so many different experiences. I'm gonna share a couple, but the one agent was completely ghosting us and didn't even respond back to us. And they came from a very, very reputable agency. It was like, if I can say house to house agency, it's very known here. But that particular agent, like we had other experiences with that agency that were really great. They were very professional, showed us, communicated really well. But we went out of our way again, obviously, to see that place. And there were a few showings, and then she ghosted us right after. And it's interesting because, I kind of already knew, I had my feeling that, oh, okay, she's gonna close it or something like that. But it was just not communicated very well at all. And, the service level wasn't that great, so that could happen as well. The other one, apparently agent, which was interesting, and I told her that's another thing that we didn't realize, is we were viewing a place that was really popular as well. There were like 4 or 5 showings before us and then after us, like just that same day. The owner was there as well, and what we didn't know was that our agent was also kind of the agent for that landlord, for the owner. And so he just wanted to kind of obviously make the money. He wanted to close the deal, and he had promised us things or told us things to do it a certain way, which then, you know, ended up being useless because he essentially tried to get the deal with this other person that the landlord really liked. Again, it's business, right? It's really cutthroat, obviously, a lot of times here in Dubai, and I get it as well, so I wasn't that mad about it. But then also it made me like not feel inclined to like work with him furthermore, because he wasn't transparent that he also had the owner's best interest in heart and not just us. And so I'm like, you know, it was, yeah. Anyways, another thing that we noticed that was kind of interesting, because it was a little bit different from what we knew from other countries where we lived in, is that like one property that we saw was listed several times. And I mean, there's like hundreds of thousands of properties available, and I feel like sometimes you don't really notice this that well. But then we noticed how several agents saying, oh, I have this and this and this property listed as well, and all of a sudden it was that one that we saw with another real estate agency and another agent. So it seems like the landlords here, they sometimes just hire a few agencies or let a few agencies kind of compete with trying to get that place rented out as fast as possible, which is another thing why I think it's more cutthroat than other places. Like I know, like coming from Austria, because we have real estate there as well, I just know that usually you don't want to do that unless you're desperate, right? So usually you hire one real estate agent to represent that one object or property, and you don't want to like just put 3 or 4 agents on the same property. But here it's different. Another thing that I told her was really important is to get clear, and that took us like a while, why I think it took us a bit longer to find a place, is to get really clear on the area, and like then within the area on like a certain spot in the area where you want to be, because even within like a certain kind of area, it can be so different, right? If it's JBR, if it's a Dubai Creek Harbor, you know, whatever it is, town square, like there's so many different pockets within an area, and you want to understand those pockets and the like finite things that come with them, right? So for instance, I told her, let's say the different apartment buildings, let's take for instance Dubai Creek Harbor. There's so many different apartment buildings, lovely area, and you want to make sure to kind of maybe research the reviews of the apartment building. So after you see a place listed on Buyer, the Property Finder, you check out the reviews and you read through all of the reviews, do your research and understand, because every place, every area, every tower or management company, whatever, they have positives and negatives. And I think if you're aware of that, you know what you're walking into, right? So within Dubai Creek Harbor, even there is like some apartment buildings, I know because we have friends living there that complains one tower where it's really bad fire alarm problems. So they have fire alarms going off at random, you know, times in the night, and it doesn't really stop, and it happens so many times throughout the month. Is this something you can deal with or not, right? And then another thing is, if you want to live in an apartment versus like a villa, which could be a townhome or like even a single family home, they call them like villas here. So if you're doing an apartment building, because she's considering an apartment, do you want to be on a high floor where it might be quieter, but also it's going to take you a lot longer to get down the elevator or escalator? And so it's going to take you a lot longer to go down, like with your kids, especially if you have kids. Do you want to, you know, just deal with that? Do you not want to deal with that? If you're on the lower floor, it might be darker or it might be louder, whatever. Depends again on the area. So these are all things to consider. Let me know if this was interesting or helpful at all. I have so many more stories to share and so many more tips that I also shared with her on the call. And I can do a part 2. Let me know in the comments.